Week 6, I think, of the Smogon Champions League comes to a conclusion. Just about. Technically, the week's not over yet, but my team won! First time the Circuit Breakers have won a week this tournament. So, hey, all I'm saying is this team so far has not lost since I joined the ranks, I think. I might be lying out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure we tied the first week I joined and now we won. So, hey, I'm the good luck charm they needed all along. And, of course, I'm going over some UU today because I'm gonna be real. A lot of the NU games were just not that eventful. I'll probably look for maybe one or two of them to still talk about, but there was one game where it's like McMegan bring Duosion Stall. And while it's a pick that I respect for the matchup, I thought the team was... It's pretty much when he stall... Same thing as when he brought Stall versus Freezeye. Just a very intelligent pick. I'm just like, there's not a whole lot to say. Just a great call for the matchup, man. And then, I believe ZS faced off against, I don't even remember who, I forget their name. I know it was a sub. Regardless, ZS's opponent brought a PU team. There was a Duraludon, there was a Porygon 2. There was a lot of things on there that I wish there weren't there, so I need to rewatch the game because I kind of breezed through it and was like, wow, this team is interesting. And I think that kind of clouded my vision of the game overall, but from what I saw people talking about, the game wasn't very good anyway. All that to say, subscribe, please. I want to hit 9K subs before the end of the year. Help me, please. Anyhow, game 1. I decided to go with the PDT versus Scarf Serum game. Partly because PDT brought Big Conk, but also, his team was just very cool. When I watched this game, I saw a couple of the sets and like, okay, yeah, these got to be shown off. And I'm gonna be real too, the matchup is just, it's beautiful. There's really not a ton that Scarf Serum, I believe, can do this game beyond just hope to overwhelm. I will say the Excadrill is very good, especially if it's Terra Ghost this game, because then the one thing you're like kind of scared of Drill, two things I should say. One, the Conkeldur's Mach Punch. You don't want to be weak to that. If this is like Terra Poison or Terra Ghost Driller or Terra Flying, shoutouts to Sabala, you'll see what I mean later, then you at least cover for that, and there's Flying would be bad to weave, but otherwise you're pretty good. You could also be worried about like a defensive Terra from Tran. Of course, Terra Grass is a known very good Terra type on it, and that could also get you. But otherwise, I do really like the SD Drill as an angle. I also think that the idea of Zor plus Keldeo could manifest into something good, because there's a Tornadus that's being tasked generally with checking both of them. Tran could kind of check Zor depending on, again, Terra types and all that. But otherwise, I feel like there's definitely a perspective of, hey, what if PDT just gets overwhelmed? And then like Keldeo cleans late game, because hey, Keldeo, there's not a single mon on this team that resists water. So this is like Specs, which has just a naturally great speed tier, minus these two goobs. But Weavile, who really even cares about you, resists all the moves it has, pretty much. And it would be just torn. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And then the game started, Scizor was led with, Weavile was led with, and PDT goes to his Heatran, eats a knockoff, and immediately gets Flame Body Burn on the Scizor. So this mon that could have been a threat no longer is. Let me see the T-Jar come out here. May as well set the sand. Look for some of your rocks as well. Unfortunately for Scarf Serum, though, this ended up being his downfall because the Weavile comes out. And I'm watching this and I'm like, alright, so surely just knock the Scarm as it comes in. And I'm like, no, SD up. Why not? I saw the swords and it's like, bro, chill, please. And he reels beat up Weavile. Which is so cool, too, because look at his team again. It makes so much sense when you consider all these motherfuckers have like base 100 or higher attack. I don't actually remember what Heatran's attack stat is. I can't even check. Let's look in here. What's Heatran's attack stat in here? 90. Good enough. You know, good enough. I guess. I'll even open this just so I don't have to do it in like a team I already have. And I thought that was really cool. And in like 2, the Skarmory Brave Bird instead of going for Body Press, probably predicting a switch, I would have to assume, right? Predicting like this guy to come out. And yeah, so Weave just gets another check. The cool thing too, I'm assuming at least this is Helmet Skarm. Beat Up just doesn't make contact. So now the Keldeo comes out. He does preserve this Weavile for later as a sat. Goes to Tornadus to take 1,000,000 from this Scarf Surf. And a very funny thing here too is the Scarf Serum just Terra'd. My guess is that I don't remember. I don't have my head calcs in this matchup well. It's probably just a roll because I'll admit I'm still a little bit about the Terra because if the Torn goes for Terra Water, it's a little bit doomed. But I think it's fine still nonetheless. He wanted to secure his KO, and then the Conk comes out. Very nice Ice Punch predict, and we do end up seeing that this is a leftovers Conk Elder. So maybe it's bulk up, maybe it's even defog. Maybe he's got defog Conk or something, I don't know. But the Weavile gets sacked there. It's probably like Focus Sash, we've seen a lot of that. And Hoopa comes out, and y'all ready for this Hoopa set? I thought this was really cool. This man set up the Ruminator. Hits him with the Drain Punch. And you thought it was over, but oh no, we're just beginning. I wish we were beginning in to sweep. Unfortunately, Dark Pulse does not cover mixed Trick Room Hoopa. I thought it was really cool. It does die to U-turn. If PDT was Terra Dark, of course that means he could have gone for it. He would have smoked that entire Scizor pack. But he's basically done what he needed to anyway. He's opened up the holes that he wants late game. And, I mean, the game is possible to win now, which is always good. Sinistea comes out. Sinistea. God, not Sinistea. Takes the Magma from the Tread. Go for Sap. Try to do something. Maybe get a lucky dodge at some point. There's no lucky dodge to be had, though. Also, Trick Room runs out, so there you go. Dark Pulse going to be enough to KO. As the Driller comes in now, picks up its free EQ kill. PDT decides, hey, I got a Balloon Drill on my team, why not? And the nice thing, too, is your Sand's about to run out, so I'm going to go for this Rapid Spin. I'm going to spin very, very quickly. Also, okay, now I have to check and make sure PDT didn't Terra. Because I don't think he Terras this game. EQ's the Drill. And then we see a very unfortunate miss here for Scarf Serum. Pumper obviously would have killed. Now I say very unfortunate. I don't actually know if it changes the outcome of the game. Because as you see, this Conk Elder's about to come in. And I'm just going to assume Conk lives one. I think if it's leftovers, it's very specially defensive. And I'd like to believe that Drain Punch and a Mach Punch would kill a Keldeo. So yeah. Obviously, maybe the Keldeo could have gotten a crit with Pump and killed Conk, maybe? I feel like Pump from Keldeo with Terra Water would do at least 66, right? I mean, it's a Keldeo. God, calls for a ban. Back in Black and White OU. So, all that to say, very fun game one. I thought PT, I really am a huge fan of this team just because it's got a lot of cool ideas on it. Once again with the Dark Spam, Weavile Hoopa, and also just the sets, man. Sword Sense beat up is really fun to see. It's not like this is new. It's just cool to see. And we keep seeing, again, more of this pickpocket, presumably Focus Sash stuff on Weavile too, which I'm a fan of. Now, UU Farmer Pinga, who I believe, Kinix. I don't know anything about this guy. All I see is their avatar is just the worst thing I've ever seen. Anyhow, he is farming UUers, presumably, and his opponent is a UUer, so not a good day to be Liss. Both users, of course, also of the school of thought that Manaphy is a very good Pokemon, using it to their full advantage, which I will always respect. Liss's team, as we look at it a little bit closer, it looks like it's a very offensive team. It's gonna be like Rocks, Tran, potentially even screens on the SERP is something you have to consider at preview. Because, I mean, setup. That's what these four mons love to do, and Tran's a good offensive rocker. So, that's where my mind would be at. And of course, you have an Ogerpon into an offense team. It's always a good day. You're always excited about having that. So, a look at Ogerpon to potentially do something. Also, of course, when you get this Thunderous Mirror matchup is the only electric check that's like actually checking Thunderous. You always kind of have to look at each Thunderous as a threat. I would say that Mr. UU Farmers is a little bit scarier, only because he's got a little bit more fallback on his team to check Liss's Thunderous. Like, Tink is, generically specially defensive, right? Torn could have an AV on it. Probably not in this game, I guess. Probably more likely to be Boots, but Torn still has, like, special bulk if it needs to. That with Terra, it could tank a hit. And, of course, he's also got the Weavile with the Shard on deck and just outspeed. So I'm a little bit more of a fan of this Thunderous' threat level, just relative to what the other team has. Now, you could argue this is an offense team. Does Thunderous really have ins? And I hear you. There's an in here. There's an in here. So there you go. Anyhow, Heatran Flame Body turn 1 burn once again. Very funny. And the music. I didn't say you could do this. Didn't say you could do that at all. We do see the Serp come out on the Manaphy, and like I said, Torn is boots, and the Serp is screen. So now the Tread try to come out once again. Unfortunately, this is not how this works, buddy. I am a Manaphy. I will continuously come in on you, and you will be very sad. Now, the Tail Glow here was very unfortunate. It doesn't do anything for you. Now you see some turns to Thunders, but you're about to see the most unfortunate sequence ever. So nothing too abnormal yet. Just a Sludge Ball. I'm trying to chip it. You know, just trying to get your chip. Poison here, a little unfortunate. Agility reveal too, so they're the demon set. And then they miss I forgot it was a citrus. And then they Focus Blast, and the Thunders gets a crit Sludge Bomb. It's put in range of the poison. So all that work just to die. Incredible. Now I don't think Focus Blast killed, but I would much rather have some chip on this Thundurus than nothing at all. Sorry, I'm sorry if that's a little bit too hot of a take for you, but just is what it is. Anyhow, take it done. Weavile ends up doubling, predicting the tank, gets Tran in for a little bit of nice, you know, again, you need some momentum after what just happened. Little Magma Chip never hurt anyone either. Manaphy does make a good read here, though, and ends up going Weavile, probably on a predicted Light Screen, if I had to guess, or even a Leaf Storm, but Mr. Karapinga gets glared immediately. So, they're kind of neutralized if you're the Weavile. Tran this time will not get so lucky with its Magma. Now, if you switch, we actually see Manaphy be the one to come out. This thing gets frozen immediately, which I thought was really funny. Just very unserious Manaphy. Fortunately, for List, they do have Scald, so the hot water will free them from their shackles of this freeze, but I'll be honest, that kind of thing just still always a little tilting for me as a player. I'm just like, okay, this hacks does not matter whatsoever because I have the move I need to just make it irrelevant. But damn, do I still hate it. This Light Screen also putting in a lot of work right now, making sure this Tran can actually trade super easily versus Thundurus. Would have taken a... I think it actually, yeah, it actually would have just died to that T-Bolt Volt Switch combo otherwise, so that's very funny. And Tran now just going to trade off a ton of chip on this Torn, force it to U-turn here too. And this just means you get to keep Magmaing, which is pretty good. Keep this Manaphy nice and low as well if you can, because Manaphy is always a bit scary. And with your team this weekend too, I wouldn't really want to give Manaphy a ton of room. So I do like getting all that chip. As now listen, Manaphy comes out, throwing off a little bit of a Scald. It still has the advantage of the screen too, so it can continuously free fire. There's Weavile now going to come out, basically just using it as, you know, Scald Absorber because you can't get burned anymore. Tail Glow here I thought was very greedy. Definitely going off of the hope and a prayer that you get a full pair there. And I don't disagree with it in the sense of you're behind. Naturally there is an Ogerpon here. I'd have to assume this Manaphy's Terra type is like poison, just so the Ogerpon cannot revenge kill it with a cudgel afterwards. And yeah, I mean, like I said, when you get behind in the game, you gotta go for luck where you can. Weavile now gonna SD up here. Go for another SD. You may think it's a throw, but the Weavile does have the Sash. So, maybe low kick immediately would have been a little better. Idea being that low kick immediately means you can two-shot Tink, and you don't end up having to just lose your Weavile in the exchange instead, but it is what it is. Terra Electric Dogi there, very, very nicely done. That's the timing you kind of need. As, unfortunately, though, they do choose to bulk up instead of attacking, and it's just allowed the Ogerpon to encore you. So, again, show me another one, show me another. I love that first one so much, I want more. Go for a Tantrum to pick off the Tran as it comes in, and then you're going to get some Tantrum Chip 2 on the Dogi. Long Shot picks you off, but you don't really care. You got Manaphy. You got Manaphy to do, like, nothing, by the way. But it's all just a matter at this point of exerting the fact that you have too many Pokemon left for a list to win. And the Thunder Sludge Bomb is enough to KO Okamis Dogamis. So, very interesting game. I do like the offense here. I'm just not a huge fan of Screen Serp. Whenever I've used offense in this tier, I've really not felt the need to set screens. Now, maybe if I'm using Revavroom, I would want to. Just because Revavroom is one of those super dynamic setup sweepers that I think you give it the luxury of maybe a second boost, and it's just truly doomed for your opponent. I do get it here, though, because you've got this Double Dance Thunder, so you want to have the benefit of extra turns to set up. Just isn't really a style that I'm, like, super fond of piloting. Not that it's bad, I'm just not the kind of guy to play it. Now, this game I thought was very funny. Franco using what honestly looks like would be a sample team. I don't think it is a sample team. I had to check that it was not the team Cindy and Watfor had built, and that she had pasted in the, I think it was the Team Bazaar. It was either the Bazaar thread or the sample teams thread. I had to cross-reference just to make sure, because I'm like, this looks familiar. Rest assured it's not. I guess it's just something about generic Hazard Lead HO just looks sampleable no matter what. And in Mimi Lucha here, I'm gonna be honest, using a team that I at first thought was built in July. And I say this because there's a Slowking, which, if you've noticed a lot of these replays, there's no Slowkings to be found. The Mon is not absent from the tier right now, but it's definitely at a low point. It would not shock me if on their next viability thread update, they've already dropped it down from like A+ to A. It may drop to A-. God forbid that drops further, but it wouldn't even shock me that much. But you got the King, you've got a Arcanine, which nobody uses anymore. And the reason I was saying it too, it's because July would be before people started saying that Drapple fell off a bit. It's back into the meta, like, very near the top again, but there was a period where people were pretty low on Hydrapple, so I thought it was pretty funny. Franco also has the benefit of this Poltegeist, just at preview looking very, very evil. Very evil, there's no Ghost Resist. And so just like this game we'll see, Poltegeist potentially could get out of hand. We're going to see this Poltegeist, I actually don't even think it comes out, but you can look at preview and say, well, Poltegeist has definitely some ways to get out of hand. Especially if Terra gets exhausted too early, because, well, Slowking can't Terra Fairy, then it can't throw off a Panic T-Wave. If Arcanine can't Panic Terra normal, which I don't think it would ever matter, because I believe you're just always going for Stored Power against the Arcanine, but maybe you don't have that. Like I said, it's a Panic option, right? But maybe you don't have that going for you. I also do think Scizor is just generically pretty strong here. They love CC nowadays, so you could always pop this guy. And Bullet Punch not only smokes Arcanine at +2, but you don't even care about its E-speed in return. Pretty much the only thing they got going for you is the Torn. And hope your Terra watering or stealing or electricking or whatever resistant to steel Terra type you got versus the Zor heat waving it and killing it. And it's so crazy because I honestly look at this team and I don't think there's a single thing I'm threatened by if I'm piloting Franco's team. I genuinely feel so... You look at his avatar, it's literally just the gym leader from Gen 6 sleeping. This Mew snoozing. This is how I would feel. I don't feel threatened by this team at preview. I think you have a very nice matchup. It's just an HO build that truthfully just doesn't care. So, I mean, let's see. So Mew led versus Cobalion. And you see T-Wave come out here, no taunt either. Even if this is taunt, it's not really worth going for, because Mew, frankly, should just always be Mental Herb in this tier. I don't think Sash is good on it. You're too bulky to really justify Sash, in my view. There's not enough that threatens you at turn 1. The only thing that I could see is like Low Kicks maybe, or Weavile. And I don't even think Weavile or Low Kicks one-shot you without exhausting Terra. So there's that. And you know, the Strapple's very specs. And Grin comes out. We do see a nice pivot into Koba here, predicting Ice Beam. Ends up eating up a Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, they do get a little bit too zesty with it. Switching out into the Slowking just to take another Dark Pulse. Which I thought this exchange was just so funny because they just keep Dark Pulsing. And then going Koba here is unfortunately turned into nothing but a sack. Which, I mean, not the best thing because your Koba could have at least checked Scizor if this was not Terra. Technically, Terra Ghost, I guess, checks Scizor because you blank the CC, but I meant to say if it's Choppleberry, you take the CC and you can body press back and do a million. So Scizor does become a lot scarier with Koba down. As the Arcanine comes out, and is actually forced to Terra just to kill the Grin. I ran the calcs because at first I was thinking to myself, there's no way this mon has to Terra. It's a Greninja, right? E-Speed does not kill. If it's Adamant Arcanine without Terra, its max rolls like 50, so it's barely killing. So a very, unfortunately, necessary Terrasilize there. As now Bear Grylls comes out, goes for a bulk on the predicted switch, and you're about to just see Okie Dokie dominance. There's nothing Mimi Lucha can do. It's looking dead. Tornadus? Ha, a Terra on. And you may think turning into a fairy type would be bad. And there's this Excadrill here. But need I remind you who we're dealing with? We're dealing with big-bodied Okie Dogie. This Ironhead you're about to see, bouncing right off of me. No Terra either to see because the Arcanine had to. So you don't have to worry about his Terra poisoning or something. Drain all that back up. Hydrapple, at this point you're just hoping for a miss, of course. You don't really have any other counterplay. There is no miss to be had. Mr. Dogie just dominance. And yeah, head smattered. Nice 42, man. Yeah. It's a bit of an uneventful game, but you know what? I had to show it. You know why? Because Okie Dogie is very good. And I guess even for... Honestly, Poltegeist, yes, definitely looks like to be the most threatening Mon to Mimi's team. But Dogie? Also very scary, because, like, what are you realistically doing to it here? Cobalion could Terra Ghost and, like, paralyze it. That's about it. Otherwise, your counterplay is, like, going Torn, and yeah, you just have to hope you force Terra earlier. Nothing else you could do. And Bleak Wind, as you saw, too, from the damage it did. Where was it? Yeah, 33. This would have taken... If this did not Terra, it would have lived Bleak Wind pretty comfortably. You'd been up to 40 after your lefties. And in Drill, even if this Mon tries to revenge kill you, you then could Terra potential on that turn. And you go for Drain. So maybe they EQ because you're a poison type at the time. All that just to say, hey, final game. Sabla versus Viv, my wonderful teammate, versus my DPP Inu friend. Viv once again bringing offense because that is who he's an offense player, man. It's what he knows. And that Poltegeist is looking mighty scary. Now, you may not think it looks scary at all. We have a Tyranitar. We have a Tornadus Therian. I promise you this Mon is scary. Poltegeist is actually another Mon, much like Manaphy, that's been getting a little bit of increased attention lately in UU. People coming to really respect it as a threat. And that's outside of those Psychic Terrain teams that I think are kind of garbage, but still not a team I ever want to have to run into. The nice thing about Sabla's team in this matchup is that this Excadrill can go Federal. Now, if it was Rock Slide Drill, you just always win, like, very, very quickly. There's not a ton you have in response to Rock Slide picking up Thunders. But even if it's Ironhead Drill, right? It's not like Thunders is an amazing long-term check, especially with Sand Up. It's just extra chip. And Thunders, too, is probably going to be checking Tornadus every now and again. Maybe switching into Skarmory, trying to exploit its passivity. So you're going to get chip on it through other methods. Even like Gastro. Maybe you end up trying to... That's some cap. Anyhow, I do like Drill a lot. If I'm looking at things on Viv's team that are like ostensibly threatening from preview, I mean, there's really not a ton that I look at preview and I'm like, oh, this Mon's a demon. It's just Poltegeist is a Mon because it learned Shell Smash that I always put way too much respect on from preview. And I was right too. Mon's a threat. Anyhow, Tran led with its offensive Rocks Tran. It's gonna very powerfully taunt our T-Tar here. Unfortunately, we're too good. So knockoff from the T-Tar pops the balloon, forces the Tran to switch out because you do not want to risk this T-Tar having EQ. And look at that EQ. Gets a good hit on the Ogerpon, as Drapple now comes out on the Spike. This is just a free Draco, free Fickle, whatever move you want to go for. Tran is offensive, and so it takes a million from this Drake. The only unfortunate thing about this entire sequence, really, is that Viv did get Rocks plus a Spike up, which, when your removal is Spin Drill, offensive Spin Drill, Sand Rush Spin Drill, a Mon that you're trying to save to sweep, especially in a game where it is, frankly, pretty damn good. Yeah, not the best, not the best. So, Low Kicks comes out here, reveals Taunt from downfield. I saw Taunt, Low Kicks, I was like, brother, what the fuck is that? Anyhow, man. Taunt ends up working out for Sabla well, because he just Sludge Bombed immediately, which I thought was a bit of a weird play, too, by the way. Like, I don't know what are we Sludge Bombing for, is my question. I may ask him about it. Because in my mind, if this ball just decides to knock immediately, we were 2-shot from this range. We were just 2-shot. And is chip on Low Kicks that important? I don't know. You had Scarm the whole time. You know, I'm just thinking, like, go Scarm. Maybe you're scared of it being Sword Stance Low Kicks, because it is on Hyper Offense. And so SD Low Kicks a pretty good slot in those teams, but Still, seemed a little wild to me. All this to say, as you see there, manifesting what I said at preview, where you can get Skarm to chip away at Thundurus a little bit for Excadrill later. T-Tar now comes out after Gastro Sack. Missing a Stone Edge there, a little bit annoying, wouldn't have killed, but, I mean, chip is chip. Game is game, as they say. The Skarm now will come in on the superpower, yum it up a little bit, and after the attack drop, actually pivot out to Drapple, because now, this Smogon can live a Cudgel. 2 Cudgels, I should say. And I lied to you, actually. You wanna know why? Because Viv decides he's had enough of this Hydrapple. He saw that Heatran die, and he said, nah, I'm not playing the Sack game the entire time. So he Terra Rocks the Ogerpon to pick off the Drapple, and that does let our Excadrill in, and you do see Sabala channel his inner god. Go for an Iron Head and crit. Very nicely done, very nicely done. I appreciate this. And in, Terra flying on a predicted Focus Blast. Ends up working out nicely too, because he actually just outright dodges it, so Drill gets to stay at like near full, which is important. Because there is a low kicks, you want to stay out of range of Fimp. And now this is where the game starts going a bit downhill. I think Sabala saw the Poltegeist here, so he EQs because he wants to make sure to break a Sash. Sap goes off, so it kind of just doesn't matter. T-Tar now comes out. And T-Tar, you know, you could throw off a T-Wave, you could knock. You got plenty of things here that work out well. I like the T-Wave. It catches Ogerpon Cornerstone, and this mon's not necessarily a huge threat, per se. But one, I'd rather have turns where this gets fully paralyzed. And two, now Excadrill's faster than outside of Sand, which is really good. Viv here sacks the Grin, which to me just means this did not have Water Shuriken. So, it's kind of a whatever pickup. Always take your opportunity to get a Spin Kill, by the way. As Poltegeist comes back out, I do actually think SD here is fine, but Viv does, I'm guessing, predict a Swords Dance this time, because he's like, well, he may think I'll sap against all, you know, maybe he SDs and I Shell Smash. That's my thought process here, at least. So, Drill forced out. T-Tar comes in, and I see this turn here as a huge throw. No, not this turn. There's another turn coming up. My bad. I guess I could argue this turn is a little bit of a iffy one. I liked T-Wave more here, but I do get knocking if you just want to hit the Ogerpon on the switch immediately, so I think knock is fine. I just like T-Waving the spawn immediately. But there's another turn coming up that I thought was a bit of a throw. I think I'm just waiting for it. T-Wave here is, of course, really good. Right, it's this turn. So going Drill here, I thought was, in hindsight, I guess, but even in foresight, a bit of an Omega throw. And the logic is very, very simple to me. This mon take damage or die, you lose to low kicks. Low kicks just beat you there. Torn, you could argue Torn, like maybe Torn would still win. But I'm not confident in sacking Drill when I could instead go Torn first, which will always live a hit, and then threaten enough damage with Knock to let Drill kill. Keep in mind, Drill Earthquake, we'll find it up here, 69. You tell me knockoff from Torn can't do 25? With the help of Sand? Actually, yeah, no, we would have had the help of Sand as you went Torn there. You tell me, so bailed by a full pair. Torn comes out this time, and I do think for a little bit, Sabla's trying to figure out how he wants to handle this Poltegeist. He's not entirely sure what mon he wants out versus it, so Tar comes back out. You're gonna see again a little bit of a trading versus it, just throw off some knocks. Now he's confident in throwing out Torn always, and I guess when I was spectating, I was like, man, why aren't we just going Torn? Dude heard me. Okay, not yet. He hears me later though, so again, you turn to Tar. Yeah, he hears me here. So he gets the full parry. He's like, fine, bitch, I'll attack. Misses Bleak Wind. He's like, you like that? I'll do it again for you. Misses again. He's like, yeah, you see now why was it Bleak Wind? I thought that was a really funny. Like, all right, my bad, dude. I won't suggest you to attack the Poltegeist ever again, I guess. It's fine. Tar then once again gets in. I mean, at this point, Tar is still plenty healthy, but I'm just like, damn, man. I don't like how low we're getting. But I think here is where we, do start making the right play. So Curse by there is kind of cringe, but at this point, Sabala does just start spamming Knock, and I do think this may have been at the point too where even if it starts spamming Sap, it's not going to be enough because it's not going to heal enough, and we're going to just keep getting enough damage with our Knock to where this is going to have to stay in Drill range. Now, this is where I will say though, this is why there was a throw. You see how much that did? 66. So any amount of chip would have been enough, pretty much. Like Shadow Ball, like I said, may have outright killed us. I don't think it did. We are an Excadrill. but it would have put us in that range. And I'm like, I don't know how we beat low kicks at that point. Like, I'm pretty confident that one would just keep coming out first impressioning. Now, maybe at the end of the day, sack this, go Torn versus Pulte is the idea. And then maybe you just assume that you out-trade Poltegeist or something? I'm just like, I don't even know if you beat Cornerstone from there. Because it did Terra, so it's not neutral to flying anymore. All that to say, I hope y'all enjoyed. Work's been killing me lately, which is why we haven't had a ton of PS lives, but they will come back, I promise you. And yeah, once again, shouts to Viv for bringing these two very fun sets. I liked seeing them. I don't want to call it innovation, but I like seeing things that do not get a lot of usage, so there you go. I just say shouts Viv, shouts PDT, my bad, man. I'll catch y'all next time, though. Peace.